What's up, guys? It's Jesse here with Mad Naps, and today we're going to be talking about the UFC 262 card. So we're not going to go over all the fights, we're just going to go over some of them. Just a couple of the different fights I'm interested in. So two fights on the prelims. First off is Andrea Lee versus Antonio Shevchenko. So Antonio, obviously the sister of Valentina, the 125-pound champion. This fight is at 125 pounds. Antonio's fought before at 135 and 125, so she has fought at bantamweight before as well. Andrea Lee is, I think she just fought at flyweight, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, from what I can see, she's only fought at flyweight. She has one positive test before for a banned diuretic in Invicta. She has an 11-5 record, 3 losses in a row to Calderwood, Murphy, and Modafferi. So some of the top girls, but 3 losses in a row nonetheless. Whereas Antonia is coming off of a win. She is 2-2 in her last 4, 9-2 overall. She has a loss to Modafferi, one of the same girls that Andrea lost to. And then she also lost to Chikugian, who's one of the top contenders right now. Honestly, I think Antonia is going to win this fight. And I think they gave her that fight specifically because they think she's going to win that fight. I think they want to build her up. I don't know what their plan is with her because I don't really see her fighting her sister at 125 pounds. I don't know if she can make 115 pounds. She does seem a little bit smaller than her sister, at least skinnier. I think she's a tiny bit taller. But she, maybe she could make 115 pounds. She fought at 60 kilos before in the World Championships for kickboxing. It was 60 kilos times 2.2, so it's like I think that's 125 pounds. In pounds. 132, so yeah, the latest she fought in kickboxing was 132. So yeah, 125 seems to be the smallest she's ever fought at. That kind of puts her in a weird situation because I don't know, she's obviously a little, clearly if she can make 125, she's undersized for 135, but I don't think she's going to fight her sister. Unless her sister loses the title or decides to move up, which will be difficult for her because she's already lost to Nunes twice. I guess Antonio's either going to have to move up or just be fine with a number 2 position unless she wants to challenge her sister. I don't know if they'd be okay with that. The sisters, that is, not the UFC. The UFC would probably love that, but I don't know if the sisters would fight each other. But yeah, I think she'll win this fight. She's currently number 12. Get her up into probably that top 10. And then, hopefully they get her a top 10, top 5 girl. But yeah, I don't really, unfortunately for her, unless she's decides she's going to fight her sister or move up or down a weight class, she's kind of in a tough situation even if she keeps winning. Next, we got middleweight Jacare Souza versus Andre Muniz. So I'm actually not too familiar with Andre. He's got a 20-4 record. This is his 3rd UFC fight. Okay, he's one of the Contender Series guys. Yeah, he's won 2 in the UFC, 1 by armbar, 1 by decision, and then 2 in the Contender Series, 1 by decision, 1 by rear naked choke. Tata fight team, he's Brazilian, seems to be a Brazilian jiu-jitsu guy, judging by his record. It's mostly submissions, which does not fare well for him against Jacare because, I don't know, I'm trying to find out if I can see any pure BJJ information about him, but I can't find any. Whereas Jacare is obviously a former Strikeforce champion. I think he's a former World BJJ champion. Yeah, multiple times. What do we got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 World Jiu-Jitsu championships, and then 2 ADCC World Championships, which is basically no-gi submission grappling World Championships. So yeah, very, very good grappler. Double gold the 2001 for purple belt. Gold and silver for brown belt in 2002. Double gold in 2003 for brown belt. Gold and silver in 2004 for black belt. And double gold in 2005 for black belt. And then at ADCC, he's got the silver in 2003, the silver and gold in 2005, the gold in 2009, and the silver in 2011. So just an absolutely impressive jiu-jitsu record and a very good MMA fighter. And if we see the best Jacare, I think this will be a one-sided fight, and I think that's kind of what they're trying to do. The UFC is obviously kind of hurting for Brazilian stars right now. They're used to for a long time. There's a lot of Brazilians on top, and right now they've got Davison at flyweight, who has a good chance of losing his next fight because he just had a draw with a guy who's I think 8 years younger than him, and usually the younger guy comes back a lot better than the older guy. Not always, but usually. So they're probably going to lose Davison as a champion. And then they've only got Amanda Nunes. So I think for them, they're trying to build up a lot of these Brazilian stars. You can see that Charles Oliveira, they have him fighting for the title on this card. And yeah, I think they're kind of trying to give him a good fight. That way they can build him back up at middleweight and hopefully get another Brazilian in the top contention there. Next, moving on to lightweight, there's really only 2 fights I'm interested in again. Or at least super interested in. The Chikugian one's kind of interesting because she might be a top contender soon, just kind of because there's not really anyone else, and she's beat Antonia, so they can kind of market that as though she beat her sister. But she's also 2-2 in her last 4, one of those being for the title. But again, the division is hurting for contenders, so that might be a top contender fight. Vivian Araujo, I'm not sure how you pronounce it exactly. Another girl, quite impressive record, 10-2 right now. Lost to Sarah Froda, who I'm not familiar with. She doesn't have a Wikipedia page. Sheems like a small name Brazilian fighter. But Jessica Ai is obviously a top girl, former 105-pound world champion. She's actually held a lineal title outside of the UFC before she got signed to the UFC. And if she's one of those girls who might be the 105-pound champion if they ever had that 105-pound class. So. Another girl, Brazilian as well, very impressive. Might have a good chance to see her fight for the title if she's able to get past Chikugian. And then, obviously, we got Tony Ferguson versus Beneil Dariush. So Ferguson's lost his last 2 fights, first to Gaethje for the interim lightweight championship, and then to Charles Oliveira, who is now obviously fighting for the title. So Tony's obviously going to be looking to get back on top. At one point he was on a 12-fight winning streak, including winning the interim title. And then because Conor kind of got thrown in the mix, it kind of messed up everything at lightweight for a while. So he had 2, even though he won the interim championship and was later stripped, he actually won 2 more fights in a row before ever getting to fight for a title again, which he lost to Gaethje, unfortunately. But yeah, one of the top guys at lightweight, probably top 10 lightweight of all time, obviously looking to get a good win back. To get his name back in the hat, get another chance at the title shot. Probably the winner of the main event of this fight will fight the winner of Poirier versus McGregor. So if Tony can win this fight and then win another fight, he might be able to fight the winner of that kind of mini tournament, I guess you could call it, going on. And then obviously he's fighting Beneil Dariush, very good MMA fighter, 20-4 record. Currently on a 6-fight win streak, so that is very impressive. He's got 3 performances of the night in his last 5 fights, and 1 fight of the night. So this is going to be a fireworks fight. He's only lost in the UFC. He's lost to Renji Najim, Michael Chiesa, Edson Barbosa, and Alexander Hernandez. So very, very good guys. And yeah, I think this is for Beneil, who's 32. He's coming into his prime. Going to be. I think Ferguson's 34. Let me double check that. 37. Wow, Ferguson's older than I thought he was. So yeah, this is honestly going to be an interesting fight because in some ways this might be Ferguson's last shot at getting back to that gold, and for Beneil, this could be the chance for him to prove himself against a top guy because he's beat some good guys, but he's never been able to beat a former champion. None of the guys he's beat are that caliber. So if he's able to beat Tony Ferguson, who held that belt for a while, even if it was just the interim belt, that'll be very impressive. And then obviously moving up to lightweight, we got the title fight. So the title fight was supposed to be Charles Oliveira versus Dustin Poirier, but Poirier opted out in order to fight McGregor for the rematch, which kind of makes sense. Just because, the money in that fight, it just makes so much sense. Winner of that fight will go on to fight the winner of this fight. And yeah, this is a very interesting fight. So Oliveira's been on an absolute tear lately. I can't remember exactly what his win streak is. Let me check here. So he's on an 8-fight win streak. Last loss was to Paul Felder. Before that was kind of hit and miss. Had lost to Cerrone, lost to Miller, lost to Holloway and Pettis, lost to Edgar. So he's only really lost to the top guys. But again, Ferguson was the first time he was able to beat one of those like real premier fighters that like could be considered in that that like top 10 all time lightweights. So obviously Oliveira's in just perfect stride right now. Perfect. Coming into his prime. He's 31. Usually depends on the weight class, but usually guys peak around 31, 32, 33. So he's just coming right into his peak right now, and I think that's perfect for him. And a 38-8 record, or 30-8 record, sorry. Coming on that 8-fight winning streak. Yeah, he's got a lot of momentum behind him. It'll be very interesting to see. Very good jiu-jitsu. Well-rounded, but more known for his jiu-jitsu than anything, I would think. And then on the other side, you got Michael Chandler, former Bellator champion, 22-5, undefeated in the UFC, although he's only had one fight, was against Dan Hooker, who I think was number 5 at the time. So they threw him right in the deep end right away, and he got a really quick finish on Dan Hooker. He already has impressive wins over Benson Henderson, one of the greatest lightweights of all time. He's got 1-1 against Eddie Alvarez, another guy who's probably a top 10 lightweight of all time. So outside of the UFC, Chandler's already proven himself to be like highly like, for Chandler, this is kind of like the cherry on top of his career to like really cement him as one of those greatest lightweights. And I think he's going to be looking to do that. And I think he's got a style that matches up really good for him with Oliveira. Oliveira in the past has had some problems with wrestlers, not all wrestlers, but with, like, those good, strong wrestlers. And I think that Chandler's just going to be able to hold him down. Although the thing is with Chandler, what Chandler could do and what Chandler will do are two very different things. Chandler likes to fight. So we could see Chandler just go out there and try to knock his head off, which could work because he's definitely the guy with the more power. But again, Oliveira's the longer, rangier guy, so he'll have to explode to get into that range. And yeah, this is just an all-around interesting fight because Chandler's definitely the more explosive one, and he's always game to scrap. But Oliveira's quite a bit taller and longer, even though he's probably not, from a technical standpoint, as sharp as Chandler is. He's just so long that it makes up for it to a certain degree. And then on the ground, both of these guys are essentially ground specialists, but in a different way. Oliveira is one of the best jiu-jitsu guys, and Chandler is a high-level wrestler. I think he was an NCAA Division I All-American, Big 12 runner-up twice. So a top level college wrestler versus a really good jiu-jitsu black belt. Two guys that are really good at striking, although different styles of striking. One's more of a power striker that likes to, a small power striker, almost like Tyson, which is kind of funny because his nickname's Iron Mike Chandler because of Tyson. But he's in some ways that is very true. His striking is kind of like that of a mini Tyson. He's got like that, not quite peekaboo because you can't really do that style in MMA, but kind of an MMA version of peekaboo boxing, I guess you could call it. With a lot of power just because he's such a short, powerful guy for the division. And then Oliveira is, the taller, rangier, stick and move kind of fighter. He's got like a lot of flashy stuff, but he's really good at using that range because he's usually the taller guy in his fights. But if I had to pick, I think I'm going to go with Chandler. I think he's a little bit more well-rounded, and even though he's outsized a little bit by Oliveira when it comes to frame, he'll probably be stronger just because of that wrestling background. And the fact that, when you're 155 and you're both fighting in the same weight class and one guy's like half a foot taller, that guy's probably not going to be as strong because, you need more bone. But it also depends. You get those weird guys with just weird skinny man strength. So, but yeah, I'm going to go with Oliveira. That's my pick for that fight. But comment, subscribe, let me know what you think, and